Hey, while I'm on my way back from Tubigon, thought I would let you see the road rather than look at me. And amazingly, can't find a cordless drill. So one of those things that you think, oh, people will be fighting to sell you the best deal on a cordless drill. No, it's not that way at all. I went to Alturas in Taliban, no cordless drill. Actually, they had a cordless drill, but it came with a spare battery, and in this particular case, the spare battery that it came with was no good. So this is one of the plus sides of the Philippines, and it is what can we say, generated by the need to test all electrical items before you take them to the cash desk and pay for them and take them home, because electrical goods are notoriously faulty. And here we are, a brand new drill still in the box. Well, it was actually on display, but they found the box that it came in. Half of the drills, the complementary drills that you get with the drill itself, the drill bits I should say, were missing. So fortunately he tried the spare battery first, and even when it was put on charge it didn't show any kind of spark. So couldn't buy that one. If I had used Beth's kind of reasoning, what I would have done is I would have probably bought that one and foregone the spare battery. But I didn't, and so off I trotted, and I drove straight down to Tubigon. Tubigon is an hour or an hour and a quarter on a Philippine road, which is like sometimes like a lifetime. So got to Alturas in Tubigon, and they don't have any stock. So of all the drills that they have, none of them are cordless. Well, no use complaining. I came out and I went to every small hardware store where you would expect to be able to get a drill. No way, didn't have one, no stock. So I'm back on the road to Taliban, and you can have a look at what driving is about, and you'll see the challenges that come up when I see them. Now I'm just having a look at how the camera is wobbling. Beth assures me that actually on the video it doesn't show it wobbling or shaking, so I'll just continue. Actually, I can't really say that I want to complain about having done the drive, because I really enjoy driving our truck, the Ford Raptor. I can see why it's probably the most popular selling truck that Ford do at the moment, is what I've heard, and I can understand why. This one's not going to move a lot for me. And what we're looking at now, the two lanes on either side of that yellow line, that was what used to be the national highway that runs, I think, all around the island. Certainly it runs through all of the towns from Tagbilaran right round, and it goes, sorry, I'm concentrating on the driving as well, and it goes up to Taliban, and then up to Trinidad, up to Obai, and round again. So it used to be just these 2 lanes, and then they extended it on either side and made it into a much more viable road. But you can still get the Philippine province mindset coming in when it's time to harvest the rice and dry the rice. They'll use that part on the right hand side to lay out the rice in the sun and dry it, and nobody complains and nobody rides over the rice. It's amazing. Now they're beefing up all of the bridges, which of late has been able to be seen to be the best idea, because one of the bridges has collapsed. Now next to it was a huge monolith of a bridge which was not quite ready to be opened, or at least they were, I think, procrastinating on it. And Beth and I had been over the old bridge that collapsed quite a few times of late, because we've been taking people from Abai up to the hospital in Tagbilaran, and very sobering thought to think that that bridge that we've sat on a couple of times eventually just collapsed and went into the river, which was quite deep. I think 4 lives were lost and some people injured. So it's been a good idea to start beefing up the bridges, and they're beefing up the bridges because of the truck you can see here on the right hand side. Look, it's broken down, but that truck, heavily laden, probably over heavily laden, and that's what's going to be going on the bridge. Problem is, of course, if the traffic is slow moving and the bridge has to support stationary vehicles, which are huge. So I think a bus and some trucks. There's another hazard there that you can see. Dogs. Dogs are almost epidemic in the Philippines. They are a security system in lots of ways, but of course they just get abandoned, and so you get gangs or packs of dogs, and they're roaming around. Not unusual at all to see 4 or 5 dogs having fun together and roaming about the roads, certainly crossing. Here's another issue that you might have to put up with as a foreigner anyway, is the buses. Buses drive in quite a fashion, I can tell you. And the vines. So they stop anywhere and just pull over barely, and you're expected to go around. If you get caught pulling around one when he's ready to set off, that's tough luck. You do what you can. This is a white van. White vans are another, what can we say, they're another high-risk factor on the roads in the Philippines. Certainly in our province, they are terrifying drivers. 100k is, I would think, almost a minimum. Now here you've got a guy who's just going to do a 3-point turn. He didn't look for he didn't look for a better place, because where you are is the best place. So they'll just pull out, and that's it. I had 2 or 3 of those today. See, but with the extensions on either side, the road hasn't become too bad. What I have noticed, it's hard to understand. Lots of things are hard for a foreigner to understand, simply because he doesn't realise, I think, he doesn't realise how highly trained he is. And he's highly trained, you might say highly conditioned, whichever way you want to judge it, but he doesn't realise that since he was only as high as his father's knee, he has been trained in a way of using the roads which allows for the rights of everybody. Whereas in the Philippines, there is no training on that. Right now, so listen to what I'm saying, because I'm not just saying, oh yeah, Asian. I've heard it said, especially in California, well, Asian drivers are crap. You know, they're crazy, they're this, they're that. There are Asian drivers, let's say Filipinos, operate on a different, they operate on a different time frame and a different frame of reference. Because, see, look, this guy riding along there, he's a delivery guy for Ninja. That's the Ninja van or Ninja bike. Delivering usually for Lazada, and they deliver, and they get into impossible places. They even get up to our house in the mountains, so they do a great job. But the way that they turn right, the way they turn left, that's right for me. The way they turn left is by pulling across and riding on the wrong side of the road for maybe a couple of 100 feet. Now, what you'll have seen there is 2 motorcycles, and they just pull out without looking. So, a rule of the road here in the Philippines, whether you like it or not, is that traffic will pull out and expect the right of way from the right onto the road. Not so often that they'll pull out and pull over and take the other side of the road, but they'll join the same right side of the road as you, and they'll do it without looking, and you will be expected to give way to them. It's a terrifying rule, I can tell you, because you can get such a shock by somebody just driving straight out from the right and turning to be in front of you. So whatever speed you're doing, it really doesn't matter. Now, if you think that any foreigner will have been trained that if he drives into the back of somebody, in other words, if he rear ends somebody, that is automatically the fault of the person who does the rear ending. It's not the fault of the person who is rear ended, right? So where does this a motorcyclist being able to pull straight out on the road in front of you, where does that kind of leave you? If you hit that person, it's a difficult moment for sure. because of Tricycles, we're right behind a tricycle now. Because of Tricycles, what's the speed that the tricycle is doing? He's doing about 20k. So he's doing 20k. He's got his feet up on there, he's got a passenger, and he is driving what I call with a local mindset. He's just driving locally. He's not doing any great distances. He's taking that young woman that he had on board there, probably maybe another couple of miles, if that, and then he'll drop her and then he'll look for another fare. So you're looking at two motorcycles here in front of us, neither with a plate and not new looking, so they're not awaiting registration. And the man in front, look, that's an old bike. He has no crash helmet, which I've been guilty of myself while I've been here. But I really do favour having a crash helmet. But here, it's always a little touch of irony when you think that people are looking at our kids who are not riding with crash helmets, and they drive very much in a local mindset, because all they do is they use that bike to go down to the road. They go along the road about a kilometre and then they turn right, and all they do is they drive from our house down to the road, a little bit of road, and then up another barangay road to the property that we're working on right now. Now this guy, he's not really paying any attention. The one in front, actually, that does have a plate. Now look at that one there, that's got three and a half people. It's got three adults or near adults and a young kid, let's say a toddler. Oh, that's good. He has a nice bright rear light. I'm going to pull around him because he's going to pull in the park. Now, I've given up on buying a cordless drill. I won't even stop for that hardware store. They'll say out of stock. There's still some damage there, look, kind of like a loudspeaker system. Of course, we're still seeing lots of damage, still seeing. Losing the roof was a regular thing. Most people lost either all of their roof or most of it. We've replaced all of the roofs in our little compound, and the most recent was replacing the roof on our office, or what we sometimes call the extension, which we had built for the office, and we're still without a home. Our little red house, which we did so much work on during the quarantine madness, as I called it. When I said I called it the quarantine madness remodeling, and we remodeled the entire red house, and we're very, very happy with it. And then along came Odette, which was a super typhoon, and she was in quite a temper when she went through, and she rips the roof off entirely of the red house, and then what she didn't destroy was destroyed pretty well by the torrential rain. But actually today, well, let me see, last night, with the help of Rado, we lifted the bed, our four-poster bed, out. Because there's been a lowered ceiling there, it didn't actually come in for too much rain damage. So I took it to bits, and Rado gave me a hand to lift it out. We put it into just dry fit into the extension, which is where we're going to live. I bought the stuff for doing the work that's needed in the extension, just stuff like curtains and things like that. But the bed, Beth really wanted, she didn't like that bed settee, I would have called it, convertible couch or futon. She didn't like that, very thin mattress. So we're putting up with the big bed. It takes up a lot of room, but it is a large room, so not too bad. Stray dog. Dogs everywhere. We have the worst behaved team of dogs. We have about, I think, 8 dogs. 8 dogs plus the 4 Pomeranians, which are pure breed. So the idea of having several dogs is that one dog will set off another, so it's impossible for anybody with evil intent to be able to silence one or maybe 2 dogs. They'd have a real job trying to silence all of our dogs. It would be impossible. I know, because I've tried to silence them myself, and ain't gonna happen. There's a roof that's been lost. So the problem with driving on the national highway in the province is that you have the opposing mindsets. You have my mindset as I drive along in my truck, which is capable of cruising at a very comfortable speed even on these roads. But then we've got dogs and cats and kids, and people, especially at night, people sit with, you can see a white line on the edge of the road, right hand side of the road, and people sit with their butt on that white line, and they don't move when the headlights of an oncoming vehicle appear. They stay there. It's almost well, it isn't, but I can't imagine how anyone would do that, because it's like you can get killed, and I believe that quite a few people do. I once asked Beth, when I'd seen how badly these white van drivers drive, how fast they drive, no matter what, they overtake when people who are more faint of heart would not dream of overtaking. Blind bends on the brow of a hill, all of that kind of thing which we're taught in the West not to do, and they'll do it, and they'll overtake long lines of cars who are in a long line because they won't take the chance of overtaking. But the white van drivers, boy, they will just steam on through. So the problem is trying to maintain a good speed. This is a reasonable speed that I'm doing here for the road and the conditions. I'm doing 60k. Don't ask me what that translates to in miles per hour, but we're doing 60. Now we've moved up now, there's a clear road. I've moved up to 70, perhaps touching on 80 here and there. There's nothing else on the road, neither in front nor behind, for the moment. So, cruising at 80. Now, you've seen already in this video how the tricycle drivers, they're taxi drivers. Their job is to, if they're empty, is to scout out people who might be interested in having a ride with them that will be a fare. So they're looking, they're not trying to make it from To Be Gone to Taliban. They're just driving locally, and 20k is fine. So here I am right now doing 70, 75. Coming up behind a motorcycle. The motorcycle is not so bad because they'll steam ahead. But one funny thing that I noticed is that if they see you behind them, which is rare, they'll actually pull over but slow down. But you can see here that they still occupy almost a third of the road, which means you can't overtake them. So here we're down to 30k, just under 40k. We're coming up to a brow and a bend. I'm going that road. Yeah, so with the overtaking, I've noticed that when people overtake, when people who are approaching and they're overtaking something like a tricycle, so they're on my side of the road heading head on toward me, I will slow down immediately. I'll start slowing down, and I'll obviously watch them very carefully. But I'll get ready to actually pull over into this side piece. Now, what I've noticed is that when I overtake, they won't slow down. If something is coming toward me and I am in an overtaking mode, they won't slow down. It becomes like the ultimate chicken run. In other words, if I can't get out of the way, well, I better get out of the way. Well, then this is Buena Vista. Buena Vista is on the water. They've just built, although it was hampered, which I think you can see on the left there, they built a huge building. Look, they're repairing the roof now. It's taken off by Odette. some damage was created there. That's been going along for 7 years, that building. But that little community there was hit very badly in the last earthquake. Along here now, all for the most part, poor families living right on the edge of the road. You can still see lots of the posters that were put up for the election. Oh, well, that's enough, I think. Probably more than enough for you guys.